Hello students, hope you all are enjoying at home, healthy and fine. So today we will continue with chapter 1 that we started in the last classes. And today's first topic is energy involved in change of state. We know that there are three states of matter, and these states of matter are interconvertible due to exchange of heat. Means if you give heat or absorb heat, the three states of matter can be interconverted. Suppose you have solid, you heat it, it will become liquid. You further heat it, it will become into vapor state. Similarly, from vapor you cool it, it will become liquid, and again you cool it, it will become solid. So by the amount of heat absorption or releasing, a substance can undergo a change of state. Now, when a solid is supposed at its melting point, suppose we have ice at 0 degrees Celsius. Now to melt the ice completely at the same temperature, means to bring the change of state without changing the temperature, we require some amount of heat, which is called latent heat. So latent heat is that heat due to which a substance undergoes a change of state but not any change of temperature. Okay? So suppose we have water at 100 degrees Celsius, and to convert it into vapor at 100 degrees Celsius, again we need some heat, which is called latent heat of vaporization. So latent heat is that amount of heat which is required to bring a change of state in any substance. That is called latent heat. Now, if the amount of matter changing state is of unit mass, suppose I have a unit mass of any solid, at its melting point that will be converted to liquid, or if I have unit mass of liquid that at boiling point that will be converted to vapor, then the amount of heat required is called specific latent heat. Then it is called what? Specific latent heat. So latent heat means whatever be the mass, and specific latent heat means the mass is unit mass. Suppose it is 1 kg. Okay. And the unit of specific latent heat is joule per kg. Achha. Now, latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of fusion is the amount of heat absorbed or released when a substance changes from solid to liquid or liquid to solid without any temperature. Means, suppose you have a solid at the melting point, then how much heat you have to add it so that it will become liquid. That is latent heat. Similarly, if you have a liquid at freezing point, how much heat you will have to take it so that it will convert into solid. So that is why both things, the amount is same. So that is why it is written here, it can be either the amount of heat absorbed or released when a substance changes from solid to liquid or liquid to solid at the melting point or freezing point without any change in temperature. For example, the specific latent heat of fusion of ice is 336 into 10 cube, means 336,000 joule per kg. The specific latent heat of fusion of ice is 336,000 joule per kg. It means that suppose I have 1 kg ice at 0 degrees Celsius, then to melt it completely, I have to provide 336,000 joule of heat to that 1 kg of ice. Now, latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat of vaporization is what? The amount of heat released or absorbed to change a substance from liquid to vapor or vapor to liquid without any change in temperature. Now see, so solid to liquid or liquid to solid, we have used the term latent heat of fusion. Similarly, between liquid and gas or gas and liquid, we are using the term latent heat of vaporization. Same thing. Okay, as we have studied earlier. Now, advantages of high latent heat of fusion of ice. Ice has very high latent heat of fusion. What is the advantage? Generally, when we want to cool water or soft drinks, we put ice. Why? Because ice has the tendency to absorb a large amount of heat, because it needs 336 joule of heat per gram to melt. 1 gram of ice requires 336 joule of heat. So, ice can absorb a large amount of heat from the drink in which you are putting the ice. Snow melts slowly on mountain slopes. Okay, snow does not melt throughout altogether at once. Okay, if it happens, then it may flood the river. But because every gram of snow or ice requires 336 joule of heat, which is a large quantity. Every gram. Now suppose on the mountain there are huge amount of snow, so it requires a very large amount of heat. So that, and this heat it captures from the sun or from the surrounding temperature. So that's why it requires a large amount of heat to melt. Water bodies such as river, lake do not freeze suddenly in winter. Okay, the same thing. So read the points. And what is the effect of high latent heat of vaporization? That 100 degrees Celsius water, steam, produces more severe burns than 100 degrees Celsius water. Suppose we are having 100 degrees Celsius steam and also 100 degrees Celsius water. So both are having same temperature, but the burns caused by steam will be more and more severe because steam contains the latent heat of vaporization. That's why. Okay, now we are going to study a very easy part, that is some change of state, some definitions. Vaporization. Vaporization means what? Conversion of liquid into vapor. Vaporization is the process of conversion of liquid into vapor. Now there are two types, evaporation and boiling. Evaporation and boiling. Evaporation means what? Evaporation is the rate of change of liquid to vapor at any temperature. Evaporation means what? Rate of change of liquid to vapor at any temperature. Okay? At any temperature. Suppose you put a wet cloth under the sun, the cloth becomes dry. That is evaporation. Okay? Suppose you put water on the floor, after some time the water will disappear. That is evaporation. Here we don't have to bring the water at its boiling point. That is called evaporation. Okay? So when we experience, now evaporation causes cooling. Suppose when you are sitting after sweating, suppose you are outside in the sun and you entered your home and you sat under the fan. So when the sweat is evaporating, then you will see that is give you a cooling effect. So evaporation causes cooling. So that's why when a person has fever, then we put high fever, then we put cloth soaked in water, wet cloth we put on his forehead. Why? Because that water, that forehead, that cloth will absorb water, heat from the forehead. That's why. Now evaporation, rate of evaporation depends upon some factors, that is temperature of the surrounding, temperature of the liquid, wind, okay, speed of air and all this. Okay, now let's come to next topic, that is the boiling. Boiling is the rapid change of state from liquid to vapor. Just like evaporation, it is also a change of state from liquid to vapor. But what is the problem? What is the difference? See, the difference is that it takes place, boiling takes place at a fixed temperature. Boiling takes place at what? At a fixed temperature. But unlike evaporation, it takes place at a fixed temperature. Now what happens when a liquid reaches its boiling point? Then by absorbing the latent heat, it converts into a vapor or gas, whatever you can say. So the boiling is the process of conversion of liquid to vapor at a particular temperature, and that particular temperature is called what? Is called the boiling point. That particular temperature, the temperature at which all of a liquid changes to vapor, is called the boiling point. Okay? During the process of boiling, the temperature remains constant. Suppose once the boiling process has started, then until entire liquid is not boiled off, means converted to vapor, there will be no change in temperature. Whatever heat you are giving, that will be absorbed as latent heat. There will be no change in temperature. Now just go through this table. The difference of boiling and evaporation is given. Evaporation is a naturally slow process. It happens in nature. You don't have to provide external heat. But boiling is a fast process. Evaporation takes place at all temperatures. In the cold time also, evaporation takes in the cold season also, in the hot season also. Obviously, if the temperature of the surrounding is low, then the time required will be more, and if the temperature of surrounding is less, then if the temperature of surrounding is less, then time required will be more, and vice versa. Okay. The rate of evaporation may change depending upon the surrounding temperature. If you put the wet clothes in the sun, it will dry quickly. But if you put it inside the room, it will take long time. But it will dry, but it will take longer time. So evaporation can take, what I want to say is, evaporation can take place at all temperatures, whether it is low or high. It can be slow or fast, that is different. But boiling takes place at a fixed temperature. In evaporation, no bubbles are formed. But in boiling, bubbles are formed. It occurs at the surface of liquid, and boiling occurs throughout the liquid. Evaporation causes cooling. If you put water on your hand or on your body, and when the water will evaporate, then after the bath we feel the cooling effect. Why? Because the water on our body evaporates, and that gives the cooling effect. But boiling does not give the cooling effect. Now let's come to next topic, condensation. Condensation. Now what is condensation? Condensation means what? Condensation is the process of conversion of a gas into liquid, means opposite of boiling, evaporation, or you can say vaporization. It is the process opposite of vaporization, that conversion of a gas into a liquid. You must have experienced that when you put water, cold water or ice in a glass, then the outer surface of the glass also becomes wet. How? Because of the condensation of the water vapors present in air. So that is a normal way of condensation that we can visualize every day. So when a gas is cooled, then what happens? You know that we have studied previously that in gases the particles are very far apart, they are moving at very high speed. So when the temperature of the gas is decreased, then the particles become closer and closer, their kinetic energy decreases, their speed decreases, and a time will come when the particles will become closer, and that will be converted into liquid. Acha. So this to study up to here. In the next video we will continue.